Anambra State House of Assembly calls for strict compliance of burial laws. The Independent National Electoral Commission asks political parties and their candidates to call their supporters to order. And from the foreign scenes, one of the world's longest-serving leaders, Cambodia's Prime Minister Sen, announces he will resign and hand over to his son in early August. Before the news in detail, here is a special message. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values that's giving maximum support for the task ahead. Good evening and welcome to the evening news. My name is Uchechukwu Ebonam. Governor Chukwuma Soludo says the security of life and property remains a top priority as his government strives to build a livable and prosperous homeland. The governor said this while receiving the flag officer commanding the Central Naval Command, Rear Admiral Umar S.A. Chugali, and his entourage at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia. Correspondent Valentine Mbadewa filed the report.
Governor Soludo, who commended the commitment, professionalism and dedication to duty of the naval officers in the state and other security operatives, assured his support for improved partnership and better service delivery. The governor promised greater commitment to working with the Navy in providing a more secured environment and encouraged them to put more effort in reducing oil theft, which will have a significant impact on the nation's revenue and economy at large.
The Navy is very actively involved, whether it is mountain, even not just the waters, or even the oil, and in fact, all the security agencies in Anambra. And expressing our partnership, our willingness and continued commitment to working with the Navy. For us here in Anambra, you are doing, Navy is doing very well.
Earlier, the flag officer commanding Central Naval Command, Rear Admiral Umar Chugali, said that their visit was to familiarize with the governor and to commend him for his support and partnership. He promised effective service delivery and encouraged Governor Soludo to sustain the tempo of the developmental strides his administration has recorded over a short period of time.
The Nigerian Navy Central Naval Command covers a lot of states, including Anambra, because of the deployment we have the naval outpost, Onitsha. And on taking over, normally with every military commander, it is customary to go around and visit the units to familiarize myself with the unit's disposition and also appreciate the environment within which they are operating.
Present at the event were top government functionaries, including the Chief of Staff to the Governor, Mr. Ernest Ezajui, Commissioner for Homeland Affairs, Mr. Chikodi Anara, that of Transport, Mrs. Patricia Iwebike, their Petroleum and Mineral Resources counterparts, Barrister Tony Ifanya, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Security, retired Air Vice Marshal Ben Chiobi, among others. Presentation of gift to the Governor by Rear Admiral Chugali as a mark of their solid presence in the state and stronger partnership featured at the event. From the Governor's Lodge, Amawabia, Valentine Mbadua reporting for ABS News.
Anambra State House of Assembly has passed a resolution urging Governor Chukwuma Soludo to direct the Commissioner for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Community Affairs to course the Department of Town Union and Chieftaincy Matters in his ministry to task religious and other community leaders to create awareness on the law to control burial ceremonies in Anambra State and commence immediate strict compliance. The House passed the resolution following a motion of urgent public importance sponsored to that effect by the member representing Akwata Constituency 2, Honorable Tony Moabike, during plenary in Oka. House of Assembly correspondent Chukwemeka Modlim has the details.
To task the religious and other community leaders to create awareness of this law and to commence immediate and strict compliance with the law to control burial and funeral ceremonies in Anambra State. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Honorable Moabike observed that the practice of exhibition of affluence through excessive spending on food, dances, pallbearers, brochures, gift items, and multiple days of burial rites has become tradition in almost all communities and towns in Anambra State. The legislator expressed concern that there is currently minimal level of awareness and limited compliance with the law, and further delays in the full implementation of the law will lead to greater degeneration into wasteful, negative, and gender-sensitive practices by bereaved families with respect to burial rites of deceased persons in Anambra State.
Provision of Section 30 of this law, which states that the Department of Town Union and Chieftaincy Matters in the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Community Affairs shall, by this law, be empowered to liaise with the town union of each town in the state to ensure the enforcement of this law. Aware of the immense role that religious and community leaders play in funerals to burial matters in the state and their ability to create enduring awareness of this law.
In their separate speeches, the member representing Dunukofia constituency, Honorable Chus Azotani, and the member representing Agwata constituency 1, Honorable Anayo Opaleke, stressed the need for a departure from extravagant burial ceremonies and called on the Department of Town Union and Chieftaincy Matters, religious and community leaders to enforce the law since they have the requisite capacity to do so.
So I believe that we are part of the problems. We should be the advocate of this law. I'll follow it to the letter. Just like my colleague rightly said, we are all guilty of this.
There ought to be a paradigm shift. There ought to be a shift from the extravagant display of wealth, because what we display there is wealth. We must restrict ourselves to be more personal and emotional on the departed, because that is the most important thing.
In his reaction, the chief whip of the House, Honorable Jude Ngobiri, noted that the current economic realities make it difficult for people to afford extravagant burials. Hence, the need for relevant agencies to ensure strict compliance with the law.
Right now, there is a turning tide. We have to look strictly at the economic situation of Nigeria, because it is no longer possible for people to afford extravagant funerals. What we owe every dead person is to give him a decent burial and interment. That is what is owed every deceased person.
Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Somtochukwu Udeze, maintained that if Ndi Anambra obeyed the law, extravagant burial ceremonies will be minimized. From the State House of Assembly, it's been Chukwuemeka Modelem, ABS News.
The state government has described as misleading the tirade contained in the communique of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Anambra State Chapter, regarding the winding down of Anambra Newspapers and Printing Corporation, ANPC. According to a statement released by the State Commissioner for Information, Sir Paul Nwosu, the government had earlier on constituted two different executive council committees to meticulously look into how best to dissolve the corporation. The government statement says that it is unfair and inappropriate for the NUJ to describe this careful process as reckless, adding that what government has done after almost 1 year of diligent concentration of the issues direct ahead of service to take establishment measures as they relate to the staff and assets of the corporation for their proper disengagement and documentation. The Information Commissioner reminded the State Council of NUJ that it serves no useful purpose to unnecessarily overheat the polity at this time. It will be recalled that the recent communique of the State Council of the NUJ indicted the Governor Chukwuma Soludo-led state government for winding up the Anambra Newspaper Printing and Publishing Corporation. The communique signed by the state chairman of the union, Dr. Emeka Odogu, and Secretary Comrade Aloysius Ofodile, among other signatories, viewed the action of the government as insensitive of the plight that awaits staff of the National Light newspapers. The Archbishop, Province of the Niger and Bishop Diocese of Oka, Most Reverend Alexander Ibezim, has inaugurated the Governing Council of Renaissance Modern Polytechnic in Bauku. The inauguration, which took place at the Archbishop's Conference Room, Emir's House, Oka, saw critical stakeholders of the Polytechnic, the Diocese, Legal and the Diocesan Education Board in attendance. Amaka Chibuzokoye has details.
Renaissance Modern Polytechnic Mbuku was founded in 2021, instituted to reinvent skills acquisition and vocational tertiary education while reigniting entrepreneurial zeal among the youth to become employers of labor. To achieve this aim, the school measures in catering and hotel management, computer training, tailoring, and engineering, and among others. The council, which is chaired by Senator Ikechukwu Abana, has Professor Nkechi Kedugu as deputy chairman, Igwe Peter Anugu, Professor Clifford Wanna, Engineer Frank Ibezim, Dr. Napoleon Onyechi, and Dr. Emmanuel Nwobo as members. Other members are Mrs. Mata Ibezim, Dr. Ifoma Monago, Sir Emmanuel Nwosu, Professor Anayo Nkamnebe, Barrister Chris and Mora, Venerable David Ezobi, and Dr. Humphrey Bosa as secretary. Speaking while inaugurating the board, Most Reverend Ibezim said that the Polytechnic is a practical-based institution where human skills will be developed with spiritual significance and is going to be a life wire to bring back the values of hard work and dignity in labor, which the society is quickly losing.
We want it to be a practical polytechnic. A polytechnic where we will develop the human skill. Immediately somebody is graduating, somebody is setting up something that will make him to be meaningful, him or her.
The Deputy Governor of Anambra State, Dr. Onyekachukwu Ibezim, who also attended the inauguration ceremony, told the members of the new board that the task before them is not an easy one and asked them to ensure that the Polytechnic maintain her standards as a mission-owned institution and that the talents are harnessed to contribute to a better society. Dr. Ibezim disclosed that the Soludo administration is making moves to provide support funds for private and mission-owned schools, which is the hallmark of the ABGA-led government.
We are there to lend our own technical experiences and even go around the economics, the financials, and then with God we get there.
In his acceptance speech, the board chairman, Senator Abana, commended Archbishop Ibezim for his passion for education, development, and other massive infrastructural projects that have been completed or ongoing in the diocese. He described his appointment into the board as an opportunity to serve God and promised that they will not relent in the responsibility that will bring their wealth of knowledge to bear so that the institution will achieve its aim and objectives.
I want to use this opportunity to call on the council members to know that this is a sacrifice. We are not here to do anything but to work. I'm accepting and making this pledge or this promise on behalf of all of us that we will work and earn nothing. That is what I will do.
Also contributing, the traditional ruler of Mbuku, Igwe Peter Anugu, who thank God for the establishment of the institution in their community, promised that the council will work as expected with the fear of God to make the Polytechnic the envy of all. Pledge of loyalty to God and service to the Polytechnic were administered to the council members by the Chancellor of the Diocese, Justice O.J. Okeke, represented by Barrister Adimora. Amaka Chibuzo Okoye, ABS News.
In the news tonight, the Independent National Electoral Commission seeks political parties and their candidates to call their supporters to order. One of the world's longest-serving leaders, Cambodia's Prime Minister Sen, announces he will resign and hand over to his son in early August. Governor Chuguma Soludo has come for a total round maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. Hold on, the news returns after the break.
Enjoy sports made for you. Recipes made for you. Entertainment made for you. Learning made for you. Enjoy YouTube made for you. Get amazing video data bundle offers on your mobile phone by simply dialing *312# today. YouTube made.
Welcome back to the rest of the news. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has asked political parties and their candidates to call their supporters to order as there are already disturbing reports of clashes between opposing parties with claims and counterclaims of innocence or culpability ahead of the off-season governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states. The Commission is currently reviewing the 2023 general election, which it hopes is that at the end of the review process, a comprehensive report will be prepared to serve as basis for further engagement with stakeholders, focusing on specific actions necessary for the improvement of future elections and electoral activities. ABS Abuja Bureau Chief Equiajide tells us more.
Speaking at a meeting with political parties for the review of the election, the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, said there is need to address the perennial complaints from some political parties that the power of incumbency is used in some states to restrain some parties and candidates from access to public facilities for media campaigns and outdoor advertising through exorbitant fees or outright denial. According to him, the Commission is looking at some of the lessons learned from the 2023 general election to improve on its performance in future elections, especially the forthcoming by-elections and the 3 off-cycle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states. Professor Yakubu said they are focusing, among other issues, on election technology, recruitment and training of ad hoc staff, the conduct of some of their regular and ad hoc officials, security issues, logistics in particular, and relationship with other service providers in general.
I would also like to advise political parties to seize the opportunity of the provisions of the law. Any state where the power of incumbency is used to deny other political parties or candidates access to public or state facilities for the purpose of campaign is a violation of the Electoral Act. I have been saying so consistently that in addition to what we do, there must be litigation. Denial of access to state facilities for political parties to campaign is a violation of the law and is a violation that should not be tolerated.
In his speech, the chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Engineer Yusuf Yabagi, said with the INEC 2023 elections review report, stakeholders are presented with unique opportunity to work together with a view to improving the electoral process for future elections, beginning with the 3 off-seasons elections in November in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo states. He said IPAC has set up an elections review committee to unearth all immediate and remote causes surrounding the conduct and outcome of the 2023 election, expressing hope that its findings and recommendations will assist engendering dialogue amongst all stakeholders on electoral, legal, and administrative reforms necessary to achieve improved democratic practices in Nigeria.
As we approach the off-season elections in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi states in November, all hands must be on deck to ensure the resident electoral commissioners and returning officers are not pressured by some governors and INEC itself to falsify results in their states.
In Abuja, Princess Ekwi Ajide reporting.
Cambodia's Prime Minister Hun Sen, one of the world's longest-serving leaders, has announced he will resign and hand over to his son in early August. The anticipated announcement came 3 days after his party again won all seats at the uncompetitive election. Hun Sen, aged 70, has become increasingly authoritarian after nearly 4 decades of rule in Cambodia. He first flagged a transition in 2021, but up to now, no one knew exactly when it would take place. Hale's eldest son, Hun Manet, until recently the commander of the Royal Cambodian Army, has long been groomed for the role. In his announcement, Hun Sen said his son will be appointed Prime Minister on 10th August. From the world of sports, Samuel Chukwueze has arrived at La Madonia Clinic to undergo his medicals ahead of his move to AC Milan. Chukwueze, according to reports, arrived at the clinic on Wednesday night. The 24-year-old will sign a 5-year contract after completing his medicals. AC Milan will pay £28 million, including add-ons for the player. Chukwueze will become Milan's 7th signing of the summer transfer window, following Marcos Portello's Luca Romero, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Tijani Regendas, Christian Pulisic, and Noah Okafor. He spent 4 years at Villarreal. Before we go tonight, remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS TV from many parts of the world by liking our Facebook page at Anambra Broadcasting Service. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at ABS Television Oka. You can also tweet us on Twitter at ABS Radio TV. And on Instagram, we are ABS Radio TV. Log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. And now the main points that made the news again. Governor Soludo to prioritize the security of life and property. Anambra State House of Assembly has called for strict compliance of burial laws. The Independent National Electoral Commission has asked political parties and their candidates to call their supporters to order. And finally, we told you from the forensics that one of the world's longest-serving leaders, Cambodia's Prime Minister Sen, announces he will resign and hand over to his son in early August. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values that's giving maximum support for the task ahead. That's all on the news tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. Good night.